Welcome to my designer class. My name is Mercy and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. In today's class, I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful card using the brand new set Butterfly Gala. I am so excited that I got my pre-order, and so stick around to the end of this tutorial and I will show you some of the other products that I got in my pre-order. So I will start by showing you this gorgeous embossing folder. This is called the Lacy Dynamic Embossing Folder, and it made this gorgeous background. I hope you will consider this embossing folder. It's kind of hard to see in the catalog, so don't miss it though. It's just amazing. All right, so we will start with a little stamping. I will bring out my cardstock. Okay, so here will be my base. I'm going to set this aside for the time being. And here's some for stamping. Okay, I used this, there are actually a number of them. I'll just show you here. There's so many to choose from. They're all just beautiful. So I look forward to playing around with this a lot more, and I will use more of them. Okay, so I will bring out my Tuxedo Black Memento ink and go ahead and stamp the butterfly. I like bringing the stamp pad to the stamp. I think you can see it better and it just goes a little better. So this is a punch set, and I think that the punch sets are just amazing. So I'm really excited that they came out with one. My color scheme, I am following the Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper suggestions. So I'll be using Balmy Blue, Basic Black with the Tuxedo Black actually, Daffodil Delight, Grapefruit Grove, Highland Heather, Lemon Lime Twist, and of course the Whisper White cardstock. So I thought that it was really cool to just utilize all of them. So I did a combination of using blends and Stampin' Write markers and stamp pads. I didn't leave anything out of the colors. So I will go ahead and bring my stamp pads in for now, and we will start with that part. Oh yeah, I'm just situating myself here. I'm sorry, this is going to take a second. Okay, so there was a lot of stamping off I did as well, so I'm going to bring a scrap in. I know this is scratch paper, but since I'm working on the surface, I don't really want to mess it up too much. So here is for the big butterfly and the base of the butterfly, and we also have these little things for the center of the butterfly. I'm not sure what the technical term is, so I will start with going ahead and doing the center. Now this part, I never got it completely right, but one thing I did know for sure is I stamped a little too high on it. So I will try better with this one. So I'll go ahead and bring this in. I hope my voice holds out because I've been a little bit sick this last week. Sorry if my head is showing. So there it is. Now I'm not overly satisfied with it because I kind of actually got it a little to the right. I don't know if you can see that, but I will just quickly go ahead and stamp the other side because we have two chances here. And hopefully the second time will be the charm. Okay, so I'll just adjust myself a little here. Maybe that will help me as well if I get up more right over it. This is the only tricky part with this stamp set. So, all right. A little better, not perfect, but you get the idea. Okay, so here we go with the center for the little one. And I think that one went a little better. Okay, so I went ahead and colored before I punched it out, especially when you're gonna do the stamping with these, the two steps. I definitely recommend waiting to do that. So I will get out my Groovy Guava and do the little one first. Now I definitely stamped off with this. It's a little too bright otherwise, but interesting enough, I kind of felt like it was too dull. So I actually stamped off twice. So it just makes it a little darker. Just a little tip if you're ever feeling like, oh, it's not dark enough, but the full strength is too dark. Actually, when you do that, it is still lighter. It's like a double stamped off, I guess you would call it. So I will do the base now of the big butterfly, stamping off, and I feel like I didn't get a full coverage there. So, and just stamp right down. And there is the base. And now for the top, I will bring in the Daffodil Delight. I am so excited about this new catalog. It's just amazing. I wish I could show you the inside, but I'm not allowed to, which kind of sucks. But I will definitely be showing you the different stamp sets I use. So isn't that beautiful? You can do two coloring it in two ways. Now, I kind of felt like that wasn't enough for my taste. I wanted a little bit more. So what I did, I'm just going to set these aside a little, is I brought in the stamping blends. So let me grab those over here, and I added. So what I did here is purple, and I kind of kept with the families, if you will. And so purple with the blue blended pretty well. Now I'm not sure, the yellow kind of came out green then, so just something to think about if you want to add a little bit more color, but you don't want to go too different of direction because it'll really, really alter it. This is the new blend they have, the dark Balmy Blue. I'm so excited that they brought in blends for the Balmy Blue. It was one of my hopes. Another one of my hopes was that they would come out with a rectangle die, and they did, rectangle dies, I should say, and they're really spectacular. I can't wait to play with those more. So I just did Highland Heather on here, and because this had been stamped off, it's like a darker shade. So obviously that blends perfectly, no problem there. So right here is the Stampin' Right marker. I'm using Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm just adding in a little extra color, and I think it really helps make it pop. So the final, well, actually I'll just add a little, on to the little butterfly. A little bit of green, I think it just adds a little. You can't notice it too much, but I think it still adds something. So the Groovy Guava, it's kind of funny, this color is actually really growing on me. I hadn't really used it a lot, especially it's not really exactly a Christmas color, and I've been making a lot of Christmas cards, of course. So it's really fun to kind of re-enter some of these colors. Like I wasn't using the Lemon Lime Twist a lot, especially at Christmas. I was using some of the other more Christmas colors. So I'm excited to use some spring colors, if you will. All right, so I will bring in the new Butterfly Duet punch and punch these out. I'm going to set my scrap aside, and these just punch out perfectly. Now I really messed up with my center antenna, so I need to play with that a lot more and see how I can get that better. So one of the things I do suggest is that you keep a Stamp Right marker. This one's the journaler, but either one would work, so you can help try to fix any imperfections. Now this one is a little bit too far gone, and it probably is better if I do nothing. But if I do this, we can kind of fake it a little. So you can kind of see how that works. Of course, this is stamping, and it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist, so imperfection bothers me. All right, so I will go ahead bring in the card, the rest of the card, and we'll set this aside, and we will start assembling some of the base. Now I went ahead and used the Starburst punch in here because most of it will be covered, and I'll use that for a different project. It's just a little tip. so that you can make the most of your cardstock. No one will ever be the wiser, hopefully, unless they take apart the card, which it's not supposed to be. I think they would be hard pressed to do that with this one. So this is the embossed side and this is the debossed side, and both are really pretty. I'm really impressed. So excited. I love embossing folders, so I'm a little bit biased to start with. But I think they just add a crazy, beautiful element, and it really works, I think, with this particular set, the Gala, Butterfly Gala set. So there it is. Isn't that pretty? It just makes it pop when you add that little extra layer. Just really amazing. One of the things I still need to do is stamp the sentiment. So I like using a bit of a template when I'm stamping sometimes to make get the most out of my cardstock. So as you can see here, I've created this template. This is 5.5 inches long and about 2 inches from top to bottom. So I will go ahead and bring in my stamp pad. Where is that one? I need the, wow, I'm a little lost here. Oh, it's right in front of me. Lemon Lime Twist is what I chose. And this sentiment is really pretty. It says, "Hello, beautiful." And I think that's really nice. That would make a nice birthday card. You could add the happy birthday in the inside, or just a thinking of you type thing. You've been on my mind is what I end up using. So I will go ahead and close this up, and hopefully I won't lose track of my stamp pads again. And I am going to bring in the pretty label punch. I like this one. It kind of looks almost like a cloud for certain cards, which I think is really pretty. So I want to get this perfect. Okay. Punches just make things so quick and easy. I will set that aside, and I will now bring in my Stampin' Sponge. Now with my Stampin' Sponges, I like to add the color of the cardstock and write down what color. And I'm getting quite a collection now of these, but I keep reusing them, and then I don't have to wash them. And they're really inexpensive. I think a package of 3 is like, I don't know, $3, $4. And you can divide each of those into 4. Each sponge, so 3 times 4, and that's how many you get out of a package. So I think I'm on my 3rd package, so it's really I think it's worthwhile just to keep each one individual, and it has a handle that way too. So okay, so I went ahead and sponged the edges here, and we're going to start our layout. Now one of the things I have here is I got the designer series paper, the botanical butterfly, and I cut it out. So I want to show you, I cut them apart. 2 of the pages work with the punch. One of the things you have to watch for though is that you don't want to cut, you're going to punch, okay, I'll just bring in the punch here. You're going to punch this part out no matter what. So you don't want the butterflies stacked on top of each other. You want them to be more or less individual. Side by side is fine. So I will just demonstrate real quick with one of these. You will lose the antennas, so I just go ahead and add it with a Stamp Right marker after the fact. But you really wouldn't have to, and it doesn't really look that odd without it. I mean, it's just too thin. So there you go. There's one, and then you turn it around, and this one you hold on this side. Now, if you aren't able to, some of them I wasn't able to do that, and so I used a sticky note to kind of create an extender. So just something to keep in mind. This does take a little bit of time, but it's kind of fun too, and you can make a whole bunch of them. I did one entire sheet almost, with the exception of these. So I have quite a few amassed already. So that's, it's all punched out perfectly. I'll set this aside for the time being, and I will bring in my other pieces. So we'll start laying out the card. I thought it was really cute to add the little butterfly on the tag. So I will do that. And I also wanted to talk about, these are my prepared punched out butterflies. And what I did was I ended up using one that I created, which I think I will use this one because the center is a little better than the center I made here. But both of these little ones are perfect. Okay, so I will pop these up on dimensionals, the sentiment on dimensionals. So quickly add that. And I kind of like starting with that first, but I do not want to add the base yet, and I'll show you in a little bit why. So with the base, it would be really hard to trim up the scrap butterfly. So when you're punching them out, of course, some of them overhang on your whole piece of paper, and some of them are incomplete. And I'll show you what I mean. So, but first I'll just go ahead and set this. Yeah, I don't want it too high. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I have a whole container here of incomplete butterflies. These are sad ones now, but there's so much of it that's still good, and it is cool to have butterflies going off your page. And so I'm definitely hanging on to this. I don't find that this one's going to be probably too usable because only one corner is good. So I probably won't salvage it. I might, but these, obviously, some of these are really almost complete. They just have a little bit. Even this one, if it's going off the paper, well, it would be over here, for example, you wouldn't even know that, that was a defective one or whatever. So hang on to all these and use them, I would say. I'm going to go ahead this time, use one of my scrap ones on this corner. So let's see which scrap one I want to use. Maybe choices. Okay, well, these are about the same. So no big, I kind of wanted one, the bottom corner was bad, but I'm getting a little too picky here. Okay, all right, so I will go ahead and use this one. So all I'm going to do is glue it down, and I'm going to do it in such a way that I'll end up cutting off that anyway. So maybe I'll do this one more like this direction. There's really no right or wrong way here. So what I'm going to do here is now bring in my snips, and I'm just going to cut straight up and off of it. And I didn't get it quite perfect, but okay, that looks pretty good actually. So I won't mess with it anymore. But you can see now it looks like it was kind of intentional in a way. So I will quickly start laying out more of these, but I'm going to put these away. So hang on to those ones that aren't complete. You can definitely use them to make it just look like it's going off the page. Now this is the one I created, yeah. So I will add this in here too. And so one of them is one I did and the others are not. So here is my beautiful bow. Now this was a celebration item this year, and I'm so excited. It came with a whole package of 5 colors, and they're all like lemon lime twist, Highland heather, daffodil delight, balmy blue, and of course the groovy guava groovy, whatever it is, color. So I'm just so excited to have them. It's a celebration item, so it was one of the items I earned with my pre-order. So excited. Okay, so I will go ahead and complete attaching these butterflies. You can add as many or as few as you want. I kind of liked the way this looked. And I'm just using a little Tombow glue. You had to use a little bit more maybe than usual because This embossing paper kind of makes it a little harder to adhere. Not bad, but just a teeny bit. So this coloring is just beautiful on this paper. I'm really excited that they came out with one, and especially since you can use the punch. And let's see, I kind of like this one a little better, this little butterfly. So I will just like quickly add over here. I kind of like the way that looked, going off that direction. What I love about butterflies is you can do totally unsymmetrical, and it's just spectacular every time. All right, so I will have a lot of opportunities to make more cards like this or experiment with different ones. So I probably will try different ones. Okay, so I will now bring in my, my card center. So here, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on here, and I'm going to use a slightly different one. I'm going to use this one this time, and I'm going to use Highland Heather. So I'll bring it back in my scrap. Actually, maybe I'll do full strength. It's just too pretty not to. And I'll just stamp over here. So that is with the Highland Heather and one of the other stamps that come in the set. This whole card is from one stamp set, and the embossing folder, of course, and of course paper, etc., and the ribbon. Well, okay, but one stamp set. So I am doing really well. Sometimes, especially when you're new at stamping and you don't have a lot of product, I kind of like get upset, annoyed. I used to anyhow, when I would see cards like with like from 5 different stamp sets, and I'd be like, but what about me? I don't have those 5. Okay, so that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Usually demonstrators show maybe 2 or 3, but all the same, you wouldn't necessarily have them all. So I kind of do like sometimes trying to stick with one stamp set. So here is the inside of my card. It's going to be, and I am going to bring in my base, which I set, oh, here we go. I set it way up here. And go ahead and attach this. So once again, you can see where I stole from here. But again, you will not see this, and you're really saving on cardstock, and I'll use those centers, the starbursts, for something else. Now, I do not put any glue here because I'm a little concerned to get any indenting, like it would pull in and you would see that. So it probably wouldn't happen, but just to be on the safe side, I feel like it's better not to. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this lemon lime twist. I haven't been using it much, and I'm like falling in love with it again. So I always love that. Now I use tear and tape. You can take it, you can kind of rip it off. You'll damage paper if you really screw up when you're writing. Have you ever done that? Like you have this beautiful card and you make some nasty mistake and you're like, darn, what am I going to do now? So I use tear and tape, and I keep it further into the card so that if I had to remove it and I damaged a little bit, I can still cover it up. So that's just my little tip. If you are not the neatest writer and you made a real bad boo-boo, you kind of have a second option, a second chance, whatever. So I will just go ahead and add this, and then we will start our show and tell. I will start my show and tell of some of the new products that came out. So there is my card we just made, and here is my original, and you can see how this butterfly, I did add an extra one here, and we could add another one. We could fit it in, but you can see how it's kind of really an optional, like you can play with this layout. Oh, the only thing I didn't do is the little pearl. So I will bring in that pearl if I can locate it. Okay, here we go. This is the Share What You Love artisan pearls, and they're just beautiful, and I haven't really used them that much. What is wrong with me? I'm a hoarder, I think. Okay, so if you just use the spatula, it works really great. So there we go. Done. It's just so cool to take a pick tool. And those are my cards. All right, so like I was saying, I will do a show and tell. I'm going to stand up for this part just because I had to reach a lot. But those are my cards, and then you can see the insides. You can see I kind of did a little different color choices there. This is actually Balmy blue, but it looks more teal in here. I don't know. So sometimes the ink versus the paper is a little bit different. Okay, so I will set these aside and show you all the beautiful stuff. This is the front of the Celebration catalog, and I'm sure most of you who've been watching videos have seen this. This is the stamps that we just used. And then this is the botanical butterfly paper that comes as a celebration item. So I will just pull this out and you can see. This is the paper that I just dissected. But there's some beautiful ones here. Just spectacular. I can't wait to use them. And of course, all the back side, let's just set this aside, is black and white. It's just amazing what you will be able to do with this paper. And best of all, it's free with an order, $50 or more order. So that's the paper. The other paper I got was this Floral Romance specialty paper. And I was really excited about this because it has vellum. And vellum is just going to be, do you see how that's kind of sheer? This is one of the vellum sheets. Ah, it's just beautiful. I think it would make a beautiful Valentine's card, actually, if you want it kind of Valentine's-y, but not terribly Valentine's-y, if that makes sense. And then look at this. This is another one that would make beautiful Valentine's cards. So I'm really excited about that specialty Floral Romance. I will set that aside, and I will bring in the stamp sets that the new ones that I just got. I was really impressed with this Flowering Desert one. My daughter is crazy about the cacti. She has a ton of them in her bedroom. So I thought this would be a perfect set to buy. I might give it to her or just make cards with it for her. She's not totally into card making. She's 17, but she does love art and coloring and drawing herself. So this one is really a beautiful one. It's a photopolymer and it's very inexpensive. It's listed at $16, so US. All right, humming along. I was so excited to get this one and I cannot wait to play with it. This is one of the brand new cling stamps. So I will just show you real quick how I did attach all of them, and they're really sticky. I'm so excited that they fixed this issue. I'm not sure why it took them so long, Stamp It Up, but it's amazing. Okay, I just had a little speck there. There. I don't think I could shake that off if I tried. And that could not be said with the previous setup. We were all having to be very concerned to that they, and not use the labels because of that. All right, so when taking it off, just be careful. They really advise, try to get under it and just pull it up. If there's a concern that it might rip and disattach here because it's such a heavy cling. So that is the Humming Along set, and we will move right along. Pardon the pun. Amazing Life. Now this one is bundled with the rectangle frames. And I put this in a separate case, and I use a magnet sheets just from Home Depot that you come for vent covers, and I cut them up and put them with a strong adhesive tape and put them in these CD cases that you can buy separately from Stamp It Up. So I'm so excited about this. I cannot wait to start using it. This is what is bundled with Amazing Life, and I was like debating, should I do it, should I not, should I get this set? But it had so many cute ones, like good luck. We don't I don't think we have a St. Patrick's Day one except for this one now. So I'm excited to have this set as well as the rectangle framelets. I've been wanting this. I was hoping and even thinking about like writing to Stamp It Up and to see if they could introduce one, and they must have read my mind because super excited. Okay, so that's another set. Now this is a